Hi there, beautiful people. This is Lindy Ford, registered dietitian, clinical and licensed nutritionist, and nutrition detective. So I have done a couple of these videos before. These are the Lindy's latest likes. And what these are, I mean, it is really hard to narrow these down because these are some of my favorite foods that I'm using every day and some really health-giving foods. And I'm going to tell you something, there are loads of them, so I could keep this going forever. So when you think healthy food, don't think that you're so limited in choices because there's a ton of them. I'm going to bring you 4 today, but before I do, I need to introduce you to my special guest, and that is Piper Ford, and she loves one particular food that we're going to talk about in this video, so she's going to talk about it a little bit. So I'm excited about that, but before we do that, I want to talk about one of the greens. I know we talked about Power of the Greens before, and that was like a mixture of baby greens. But I'm going to talk specifically about a green that I love, and that is baby kale. Now, I love kale of all kinds. Kale is one of those superfoods. But baby kale may be a type of a green that would introduce you to greens if you're not really used to eating them because it's more tender, it's sweeter. You can saute it, you can put it in smoothies. I put it in smoothies all the time. Or you could just eat it in a salad. And it doesn't have quite that pungent taste that other kales have. Well, let me tell you about kale. And I just want to show you this real quickly before I tell you about the properties of kale. And that is just, you can buy it in a bag. You can buy it in one of those boxes. It's in almost every store. Again, if your store doesn't have baby kale, you need to be shopping somewhere else because baby kale really rocks. I think I got this at Trader Joe's. And this is actually an organic mix, which is always going to be better. But let me just tell you about kale. Kale is so important because it's high in fiber, it's low in calories, and it's very high on the ORAC scale. So what is the ORAC scale? So that is the oxygen radical absorbance capacity scale. Now, you don't need to remember that. Just remember ORAC. And it's actually something that was developed by the National Institute of Aging because it is so anti-cancer. These are the highest anti-cancer foods that we have. And basically they're just like little Pac-Men in our bodies. They go around and scoop up the free radicals that can lead to cancer proliferation. So they're really, really great cancer fighters. They're also great for your immune system. So that is one of the things that kale has, but also it's high in vitamin K and blood clotting and great for your bones. Hey, you know what? It also has more calcium than dairy does. We've been fed this thing about dairy, I mean pretty much our whole lives, that dairy is the only way that we could build strong bones, but honestly the countries that eat the less dairy have less osteoporosis. So that's not true because they're eating some of those calcium rich foods like kale. It lowers your cholesterol. It's also great for arthritis and autoimmune problems because it has a ton of omega-3s. It also is very anti-inflammatory because of the omega-3 content. So the other thing I love about kale is it is a great liver cleanser. It helps your liver to stay ungunked, and a lot of us have problems with clogged up livers, and we don't want that. That's a bad thing. So the next thing that I'm going to get to is berries, and berries of all kinds. So Piper loves berries. These are just a few berries. We eat berries in season. Now there is a caveat on berries. You want to have a couple of those? Why don't you eat a couple of those? She loves her berries, but Piper loves berries in all forms. When I bring fresh organic berries, and I'm going to say that's my caveat to berries, is they need to be organic because they're some of the dirtiest fruits out there. You don't want to be giving your kids non-organic berries. So sometimes they're not in season. Sometimes you can't get them fresh. So what I do is I buy them frozen. And berries are so important. Here's frozen blueberries. I think this is Stallbush Farms. It doesn't matter what brand as long as they're organic. And the other one that I love, and I love to use in smoothies, or you can just eat them frozen like little berry popsicles.
Berries are really good for you. They have a lot of nutrition in them, and I think kids would like them.
I think kids would like them too. I do too. Well, tell me, what kind of berry? What's your favorite berry?
Raspberry?
Raspberries are your very favorite, but you really like all berries, don't you? And when I bring them home, do you like to eat them like right away? Do you eat them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are they pretty good for your body?
Yes.
Yeah, they're pretty nutritious. I love the mixed berries. We've already gotten into these, but I love the mixed berries. These just have a mixture of blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. These are golden. Always have these in my freezer, always. And you know, yeah, they're mushy when they're defrosted, but they're still great. And remember, we talked about the frozen foods are a lot of times just as nutritious as fresh. Now, berries are so high on the ORAC scale. We talked really high, right? Really nutritious, right? So they're very anti-cancer, especially blueberries. And they have tons of something called flavonoids in them, which make them anti-cancer as well, but also make them very good for your brain. So they're very brain boosting, especially blueberries, right? And they decrease the risk of macular degeneration, and that is especially strawberries. They're low glycemic, but not the juice. I don't want you to be drinking berry juice. You need the whole berry because of the fiber, because of all the nutrition in it, and it hasn't been, you don't want anything that's been pasteurized or anything like that. And they help to stabilize your blood sugar. Okay, so the number 3 thing are organic spices. Now, this is fairly new on the scene, and I really tout organic spices because of the fact that I have seen a lot of studies recently on some of the things, the bad things that are in our spices, the toxins and the impurities that are coming, especially from overseas, in our spices. And we don't want that. We need to be so careful. So there's 2 companies that I love. You gonna hold that up for me? Okay, Piper's gonna hold that up. So this one is actually called Frontier Spices, and these are all organic. I love Frontier. I don't even know where I got this. I think it was either Vitacost or Thrive. I get these online. But the other one, and I need to actually make a big order because I'm out of so many spices, especially my seasonal, which my family loves. But this is sage, and this is from Simply Organic. They make tons of spices. They make vanilla. This is great spices and things that you want to add to everything. These spices are actually high on the ORAC scale too. So the very last thing I want to talk about is grass-fed butter. I love grass-fed butter. Let me tell you why. Yes, butter is a saturated fat. No, I don't want you to eat sticks of butter. Yes, we need to limit some of our saturated fat. But it is not the culprit that we once thought it was in heart disease. What is it that's driving our heart disease? It is because our blood sugars are going up and inflammation is going up, and we're not eating a lot of the nutrient-dense foods that help our hearts. It is not all about saturated fats. But this particular, and Piper's going to hold it up, particular saturated fat is so good because it has something called CLA in it, which is conjugated linoleic acid. I love CLA. It's like 20 times more in grass-fed products. We talked about grass-fed beef as well. And CLA actually helps to reduce our weight if we have a weight issue, but it also helps with heart health. So it's good for our hearts, it's good for our waistline, but also the thing about grass-fed butter is that it has a lot of omega-3s in it. Omega-3s are heart healthy, and vitamin K2, which is good for circulation and for our bones. So there's just tons of things in grass-fed butter that you're not going to find in regular butter. If you can get organic grass-fed butter, that's even better. That's kind of rare. I just go ahead and buy Kerrygold butter, which is Irish butter. This is actually grass-fed. It doesn't say it, but it is. It's Irish butter. And it is fantastic. I even put a little in my coffee in the morning. I know I've lost my mind, but I love it that way. And so a little bit of butter is wonderful to add to some of your veggies and other things that you can add it to. And so don't be afraid of using a little bit of grass-fed butter. So thank you so much. You are honoring me with your time by watching this. I know it was fun doing this with Piper. Piper, can you say goodbye to everybody?
Bye.
So thank you. And please like my Facebook page, Lindy Ford Nutrition and Wellness, as well as my, please follow me on Twitter. And if you don't mind, just go back to the homepage here and subscribe to this YouTube channel. It would be so wonderful because I have this brand new YouTube channel, and the more subscriptions would be just wonderful, and I can just keep doing this and be great. And just remember that everybody deserves